When it comes to closing sales, most insurance professionals, and even the ones that have been in the insurance industry for years, tend to struggle with overcoming simple, basic objections. In this video, How to Overcome Objections Closing Final Expense Sales, I'm going to share with you a formula that I guarantee will increase your closing percentage with, well, not only final expense sales, but basically any type of face-to-face, one-call close life insurance sales situation that you'll ever find yourself in. Coming up after this. If we haven't met, I'm Douglas Massi, and I'd like to share with you something extremely important. 2 tools that are complete necessities for every final expense sales presentation. The pricing page and the medical history page. And these are the exact documents that I use during every single presentation. Now, the medical history page to gather information about the prospect's health so that I give them the right product, and the pricing page where we write out the 5 options we show everybody. So if you stick around all the way to the end of this video, I'll gladly share with you how to get a copy of both of these forms for yourself. Now, before I go over the formula that I use and that most of our top producers use for overcoming objections, I need to get something off my chest. Most objections can be avoided up front by 1, simply having a solid presentation, and 2, being able to make that presentation roll off your tongue as if you've been doing this for years, even if it's your very first day. The typical salesperson will tend to slack off in the area of studying and memorizing and practicing their presentation, whether they're making a final expense sales presentation or any type of life insurance related sales presentation. Back in grade school, the hardest thing in the world for me to do was memorization. And anytime I had to memorize something, even just a couple of sentences, it always took hours and hours of study time for me to get it. Spend the time memorizing your final expense presentation, paragraph by paragraph, section by section. Don't try to memorize the whole presentation all at once. Memorize 1 page, 1 part at a time, and once you've mastered that first part, memorize the next part. And yes, this could easily take 10 or 12 or 15 hours every single day for several weeks, but trust me, that's what it takes to be a pro. With that being said, the dumbest thing you can do is go out there and start making presentations without being prepared to make a solid, outstanding presentation, and even worse, going out to make a presentation without knowing exactly what you're going to do when someone says, "Okay, I need to think about it," or "Do you have a card? I'll get back to you later." Trust me, winging it does not work. That's why we have a proven sales system designed to not only get our contracted agents in front of more prospects, but it's designed so that if you follow it and put in the time and effort, you're going to make more consistent sales than the typical final expense agent. So, before we get into the training, this is when I'm going to ask that you give this video a thumbs up or a like, as we're putting out new training videos all the time. And if you haven't subscribed, now is the time to do that. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and once you've done that, click on the little bell looking thing that's down there next to the subscribe button so that you're notified every time we put out a new video. There are usually only 2 reasons someone is going to give you an objection while you're closing the sale, and when it's all said and done, it will come down to affordability and trust. So let's assume you just made a solid and most awesome presentation with lots of energy, excitement, and enthusiasm, and they love and trust you. During your presentation, you're always addressing the need, and if you do what we teach at United Final Expense Services, you'll be using the name of the primary beneficiary throughout the presentation. Therefore, the first thing you do when someone gives you a "I gotta think about it" or "that's too much money" is you go back to addressing that need and you talk about the beneficiary by name. Mrs. Jones, I can appreciate you taking the time to think about this, and I also know that earlier in our conversation You stated how you wanted to make sure that your daughter Sarah had the funds available to take care of your final expenses. You definitely made it clear that you don't want to leave her stuck having to come out of pocket to take care of all that stuff that we have to deal with when we die. What a mess. Next, you do a price drop close. Mrs. Jones, can I make a suggestion? Always, always, always ask them, can I make a suggestion? And then don't say anything until they answer. Well, sure, you can make a suggestion. Let's just start with that bottom option. That way, at least you have the bare minimum taken care of. And Mrs. Jones, if things change later financially, we can always give you more coverage. Go ahead and grab your driver's license, please. Just to be clear, if they had told you that they can't afford it, you're showing them a lower price than what you had already showed them before, and you're pointing to that bottom option. Seriously, guys, I'm sharing my formula for overcoming objections, and you're still not giving me a thumbs up. Dude, smash down on the like button, and if you hate it, that's cool. You can hit the thumbs down thingy too, whatever. Now, let's assume that they're still giving you excuses and objections, and relax, guys, this is totally normal. It's normal for people to give you 2 or 3 objections before buying. You see, this is often their internal way of testing you and making sure that you're actually the right person for the job. Nobody wants to buy insurance from a dope. On the second objection, I'm assuming that it's about trust. Now, maybe I said something they weren't crazy about, or maybe I just wasn't clear about something, but they need to have confidence in me, and they need to feel secure that they can totally trust me to help them and not to lead them down the wrong path. What I do is open the conversation of how we just met, and I'll say something along the lines of, Mrs. Jones, look, I know we just met a half hour ago, and you don't know me from Adam. And I know you're hearing these stories of people getting ripped off and stolen from all the time. So let me be clear. The last thing that I would do is something that I'm not supposed to do, because if somebody did something like that with my mom or dad, it would make me crazy. This is when I pull out my insurance license and my driver's license, and I get into a story of how the license puts food on my family's table, and that I would never do anything to endanger losing it, and how I've never had a complaint about me to the insurance department, and so on and so on. And then I get back to addressing the need for the insurance again. I use the beneficiary's name, Sarah, and how they were clear that they didn't want to leave a burden on Sarah or the family. Then I simply go back to doing another price drop close. Mrs. Jones, can I make a suggestion? I know it's important for you not to leave a burden for Sarah. Let's just go with the bottom option. You guys see where I'm going with this, right? Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Remember, it always comes down to either the cost or them trusting you. So be prepared to do a price drop, and if you haven't built enough rapport the first time around, it's real simple. Just go back and build more rapport, and always talk about the need for the insurance while bringing up the beneficiary by name. For a copy of the medical history page and the pricing page that I use during every single presentation, email me at doug@ufesonline.com. Are you in the need of fresh leads that are never resold, or are you interested in maybe getting more information about being part of our final expense sales team, which does include access to our online training platform, along with some of the highest commissions in the industry? Just shoot me an email at that same address. Remember, when we put the needs of our clients first, everything falls right into place. So get out there and do something good for someone today. Happy hunting.